Hi, welcome to another music theory video. This one I'm focusing on chords in a major key. For this I'd expect you have a basic understanding of treble clef notes and have some ideas of how to work out different keys and different key signatures. Yeah, let's get into this. Okay, so building chords from the major scale is one of the techniques I use. So here I've got a C major scale from C to C. From that, we can create all of our chords within this key very, very easily. So the first thing we should point out is the first note. And I'll be talking about numbering all these notes in a bit, but for now, we're going to be using the first note, the third note, and the fifth note. And this is our basic formula for most of our chords that we have in music. Okay, we need a first, a third, and a fifth. That can change that can have a different order, but we need to have the first, third, and fifth notes. Okay. Next, we need to know a few things. So we'll need to be thinking about the chord type, what scale degree these chords are coming from, and the first, third, and fifth, which I've mentioned. So for ours, we're looking at the C major chord. And when we're dealing with the C major chord from the C major scale, we're dealing with our first degree here. Okay, and so our first is going to be a C. Our third would be C, D, E. Our fifth would be the G. And there we go, we've got our C major chord constructed there. Okay, let's move on. So next, let's look at these other sorts of chords that we can create in a major key. So let's put our C major scale in there. So we've just got the letter names this time around. And then on each letter name, we can have a number system or scale degree system. So we've got our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth note of the scale. Okay, and this is really important. If you were having a scale going backwards, the B would still have to be the second or the seventh coming backwards down the scale, and the D will always be the second. Okay, now the chord types, we've already mentioned that the first chord type is going to be a major chord when we build it on C, and we had C, E, G. Our second chord type is a minor chord. Okay, and if we'd use our D as our one note in that situation. Okay, and we'll get into that in a minute. Our third chord type is going to be minor again, then a major chord, a major chord, a minor chord, a diminished chord, and then a major. And this sequence will be the same for any major key. So we'd end up with major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major would be our chord sequence in every single major key. So building these chords. So we need to work out our C major chord, and we worked out before it was our first, third, and fifth of the scale. So let's put those in. We had C, E, and G. Now next we're going to be calling D our first note. Okay, so our first note will be D. Our third from D, so D, E will be F. Our fifth from D, D, E, F, G, A. And there we go, we've got our D minor chord built from the notes from the major scale. Our next chord will be a minor chord again, and we're going to be using E. Okay, a third up from E, so E, F, G. Our fifth, E, F, G, A, B. And then we've got our E minor chord built very easily. Our next chord will be the F chord. So F major is what we're building. The third from F will be F, G, A. Then we're going to have the C. And then we're up to our fifth chord. So our fifth chord would have a third above G, would be G, A, B. The fifth will be G, A, B, and the next letter would be D. Our A minor chord, we'd have A as our first note. Our third would be the C. Our fifth would be A, B, C, D, E. Okay, I'm just extending the letters. And then our diminished chord would start with our B. Our third above it would be B, C, D, and then B, C, D, E, F. There we go. And then back to our C major chord, where we had C, E, and G, just as a higher version here. And as you saw, the notation appearing underneath as we're going. Okay, so all of these chords are constructed out of the notes from the C major scale, and they work fantastically for chord progressions. And if you're getting into songwriting, all of these chords would work really, really well. You just got to work out what order you want your chords to be in. Okay, that might be another video down the track. So next, what happens if we do this in a different key? So here, you notice I've got my G major scale. If you don't know how to construct your G major scale, check out, I'll have a video link nearby. Okay, so here we've got G major, and for those who know, you'll end up with an F sharp in this particular key. So let's fill out this grid again. So we're going to start off with G, the third above G, G, A, B, the fifth, G, A, B, C, D, and then we've got our G major chord constructed straight out of our major scale. The next one, A minor, we had this one before. So we had A, third above A was C, the fifth above was E. B minor, we'll have B, the third above, D, the fifth, make sure you're writing in your F sharp. If you put an F, it'll completely change the sound of that chord. We need an F sharp for this minor chord. The next one, back to C major, we needed our C, the third, and the fifth. D major, so D major had the D for the first note. Then we need the F sharp as our third, and then F sharp G, A would be the fifth. Okay, as you see being notated down here. Next one, E minor. So E minor, we need the E as the root note. Then we need the G, E, F, G. Then we need the E, F, G, A, B. Okay, and now for our diminished chord, we need to have our F sharp. Then we need our F sharp, G, A, and then F sharp, G, A, B, C. So F, A, C, making sure you've got your F sharp in there. Okay, next one, and we're finishing with our major chord, but an octave higher. So we've got our G, our B, and our D. Okay, what happens if, so before I move on, making sure whenever you're filling out these sorts of grids, you're using your F sharps or your key signature notes, should I say, within your grid when you're trying to work out the chords in your major keys. Let's try one with a flat key signature. So here we've got our B flat major scale I've got written under here. Okay, and in B flat major we have a B flat and an E flat, making sure to remember that have the octave B flats in there as well. So our first note, we should put that in. We've got our B flat, and that sits below the staff. Our B flat C D would be our third. B flat C D E F would be our fifth. Moving on, we'll end up with our C minor chord as our second chord type. The third above will be E flat, don't forget the flat symbol. Then our fifth will be the G, creating our minor chord. Okay, D minor, we need the D, the F is being the third, the A being the fifth. Fourth chord, sorry, would be the E flat, F, G, finishing with the B flat. So we've got two flats in that particular chord. Next chord we've got F major, and we've had this one before. We need the F. Third above would be A. The fifth would be the C. The next chord will be G. G, third above, G, A, B. And then G, A, B, C, D would be the fifth. A diminished, we need the A. A, B, C, D, E, flat. Okay, so that one's got a flat in there as well. And then the last chord, B flat major, I'm going to have that as being the octave above. So we need the B flat, the D, and the F. And you can see we've constructed all of our chords in a simple, known as a triad or a 3-note chord. Okay, so hopefully it's been helpful that we've been able to look at creating chords in a major key. And hopefully you've been able to use your first, third and fifth to create all of your chords, your basic triad chords. If you found this video useful, definitely comment below. I like the feedback. If you have any problems with any of these sorts of scales and things, definitely be in contact. If you have any ideas for new videos that you'd like me to do that might help you out with your theory studies, or even with for teachers who watch this as a resource to be able to use, definitely comment below as well.